and it's cost him dearly.
Feeling with Eubank is weird.
Looking so apprehensive.
Even as a middleweight, no one could pack a punch like Chris Eubank.
He clearly stung by those rights. He's got him with the right hand.
Defeated Nigel Benn himself. And had won the knockout of the decade. Presenting himself as a gentleman outside the ring, it was inside of it that he was a real killer. Today we recall the absolute wars. The tragedy.
I can't tell you how sorry.
And the ruthless aggression embodied in Chris Eubank.
Chris Eubank, we're over 2 cocky fellas. Oh man, look at that left hand on the chin.
Born in 1966, the little gentleman grew up in London's most ruthless areas, getting prepared for a life full of hardship. Chris was around 10 years old when he knew that school wasn't an option for him, as he managed to get himself expelled from all of them and got dragged back to the streets.
I was never a bad boy. I was a rude boy.
Having been neglected by life, the teenage boy moved to the USA with his father, where he finally graduated while taking up boxing. He found success as an amateur, winning the 1984 Spanish Golden Gloves tournament and also getting to the semi-final stage of the main Golden Gloves at the prestigious MSG Garden.
I was fighting for respect. It wasn't money I was fighting for.
Frustrated, Chris immediately quit the amateur ranks with a record of 117 wins and 18 losses. Debuting as a pro in 1985, the 19-year-old Eubank engaged in absolute slugfest with his opposition.
Chris Eubank is the sort of fighter who could really now, I think now, he's got his man on the hook. Is he going to let him off? The American goes down.
The gentleman showed the world who he really was when he got up against Darren Parker. Kept studying the Irishman's moves. And delivered. In an effort to grow his name, Chris kept fighting low competition. Developed a great jab. An uppercut.
Oh man, look at that left hand on the chin.
Next on the list was the 33-year-old Canadian Leigh Wisniewski, who tried countering Eubank's offense.
There was every trick in the business, Eubank, I tell you. It wasn't so spectacular. Bit of an
Straight jabs were the order of the day.
He's not bad. Sometimes you get the feeling, I mean, at this moment in time, it looks as though he's out at this moment, obviously.
And clean combinations to the head.
And we are pronouncing it right, he's Eubank.
The Canadian went on to become a moving punching bag for the gentleman.
And he'll keep this up now, and Jacobs will fly in there any second. There it is, it's all over, and it had to be.
It's going to be a difficult...
Oh, good left hook.
Eubank went on to face the huge underdog Hugo Corti, who put up a performance that surprised many, as he was expected to fall in the first round.
Oh, too good. A left-right combination. And the Argentinian in trouble now. And Eubank senses it and pours it on.
All of his own. He's the master of...
And another good jolting right hand, followed by a left.
The constant jab right-hand combo was snapping Corti's head back countless times.
Trying to come back.
This looks all over now. Eubank has got too early in the round. He ain't leg off the hook.
The referee had eventually seen enough.
Argentinian still there.
The corner
And he's got him again. And once again, Corti is wobbled.
The Argentinians corner are complaining
He's
about...
cut over the left eye. And that's a bad cut.
On his road to become the middleweight champion and fight Nigel Benn, Eubank had to earn his shot in a respective manner against Kid Milo, who was standing in his way.
Thinking back to sparring sessions in Rumford.
Milo confused the ring for the road and was swinging carelessly as if he was in a street fight.
Hang on.
Milo.
I think I'm going to go with the seats.
Left cheek, left eye. Cut back.
But that meant little to the street life veteran.
He's giving him every chance. Oh, the right had him. The legs have gone. Could be made to. regret that if
Eventually, Milo's bloodied and broken head was an indicator that he could not take it anymore.
as it has done for the last 3 or 4 rounds.
I
And
think
Larry
it's all
O'Connor
over
says
now. This decision by the referee.
that's it as we suspected it would.
Let me add a little bit of spice.
Having earned his title shot, Eubank was ready to put on a great show. On the opposite side of the ring, a fighter that was also from London named Nigel Benn was waiting for him. Benn was the WBO middleweight champion and was labeled the Dark Destroyer for what he was doing to his opponents in the ring. The two men were so locked in to fight that they were ready to bring it all down on live television.
Well, I suppose that's a... What? You want some?
Finally, Chris Eubank had reached an agreement with Benn's management team, and the Dark Destroyer put his belt on the line.
He's throwing punches back early, even if he is doing it on the run.
He's going to try to evade the punches rather than block them, and that could be dangerous.
In the early stages of the fight, Ben bounced forward as soon as he could, leaving the slightly more cautious Eubank to shuffle from side to side in between his bursts of activity.
Along with his temperament, he looks very calm as they come into the ring.
Those stand-up sluggers that he nailed.
Well, Ben just started.
I don't know what he's doing.
Well, Ben is going to make him.
Crucially, Eubank quickly proved he had a chin capable of absorbing shots.
12.
Oh, that was a shot, Reg. That was a good shot, and that certainly got a reaction from Eubank. That was a lovely shot, Reg. He's not going to be able to strut. He's going to have to try. He's done it, Reg.
He's done Ben by the look of it. He shot that right hand down the...
An uppercut caught his jaw while it was open, and it led to him biting through his tongue.
He said he could do the business. Well, he's mixing it, and it worked out. But that was a lovely uppercut. I think that was more of a stumble, Reg.
Well, no,
Eubank. He's starting to stretch, and his defences have come apart a little bit in this round, Reg.
Ben, however, could not hide the damage he had suffered from anyone.
Something might be a problem with Ben now. He's getting the...
do the odds to the throwback to bare knuckle days.
And by the fifth, his eye was shut.
Ben to be the one who was doing it. Ben's revved up there.
Nigel appeared to have made a breakthrough when a right hand caught Eubank.
The master of the noble art. Oh, right. Almost came out on her lap, Sergio.
The end came in the next round, by which time the tables had been sensationally turned.
The eyes watch, Reg. This will be the finish of the belt.
It's all over in the 9th round.
The two went their separate ways, though the magnetism always seemed likely to pull them back together again.
That's what he wants to be honest.
Instead, Chris got it on with Gary Stretch, who seemed to be nothing more of a tune-up fight.
Jab. Accidental.
Yeah, well, it's obviously...
A lot of movement was coming from Gary. He was ahead of Eubank on the judges' scorecards.
See, Stretch is just trying to...
And so Chris had to do something very quick.
And it's cost him dearly. Well, that's a shot. That's really shaking Stretch. That's the punch. Stretch wants to get his hands up, and he wants to touch down. That's what he wants to do.
Gary was able to recover, but it would have been better if he had just stayed down.
Had a good look at him, the referee.
He is still stunned, Reg. Yep.
He's done him all right.
The nicely dressed gentleman who spoke with a lisp was preparing to take on the only man that achieved to beat Nigel Benn, Michael Watson.
Well on top of these guys. Taps on the forehead and the
He
chin.
needs to be fired up the same way he was against McCallum.
Eubank eventually caught up and was hitting Watson with some real haymakers.
Now he's got to cover up now, Watson.
And still, the WBO.
He was able to get the majority decision, but many believed that Watson had the potential to put a stop to Eubank's reign.
Oh, we may have a different version. Come for you, babe.
And so only 3 months later, the pair met once again for a fight that will forever be written in the boxing history books for one reason.
They're in contempt, as you heard, in the upper division.
Well, Watson started the previous meeting.
From the opening bell, the pace he set was so blistering, and you just knew that whoever prevailed would only do so by going to the well more than once.
Left hand gabbing, I think, but Watson too to try and keep him at bay, but there's not.
Watson's trainer knew that Eubank didn't like trading at a fast pace under sustained pressure, and so they capitalized on it.
But this is real professional.
By the 11th round, Watson had established dominance both in the ring and on the judges' scorecards at ringside. Visibly tiring, it was all Eubank could do to remain on his feet.
What a round, the 11th round. One to go after this. He's got plenty of guts, Eubank. He's down there taking the best. Oh, he's got him down now. That's
In violation of the laws of nature, Eubank proceeded to get up from the canvas and launch himself forward.
mandatory 8 count. I thought he would have that under WBO. I'm surprised with that. He's walked in and he's now Watson.
Sitting on his stool in his corner, blinking repeatedly, Watson should by now have been on his way to an ambulance.
But he looks rocky on the legs there, Watson.
Mercifully, the referee stepped in to stop it,
What a cliffhanger. He's going to dive in and he stopped it in the last round.
and upon reaching his corner, Watson collapsed.
Oh, I don't know how we can take the shot.
As a result of this tragic denouement, enhanced safety measures were introduced at all professional bouts. From now on, paramedics and an ambulance had to be present at the arena, which itself had to be within 10 minutes distance of a neurological hospital. Even today, Chris Eubank hasn't forgiven himself for the incident.
I can't tell you how surreal.
Having moved up to super middleweight, Eubank was locked in for a rematch with his arch nemesis, Nigel Benn, who by this time was the WBC champion and the slight favorite coming into the fight.
Conditions tremendous.
Full concentration.
He's admitted in the past that he's
Compared to the first fight, the rematch didn't quite reach the heights of brutality, with neither fighter being badly hurt.
Very good too. But a good right hand lead from Eubank. See, Ben has to pay more attention.
One standout moment saw Nigel Benn knocked through the ropes in a corner.
this week. You're going to be surprised with my shoved him out of the ring there.
The final round was the most entertaining, after both Ben and Chris Eubank said they needed to win the round in order to triumph on the cards.
Here anyway.
The decision? A draw.
Well,
Eubank at this point had 41 victories and no losses. And that's until he faced the 31-year-old Steve Collins.
Just doing that bit more than Eubank in the second round.
very, very sharp boys.
The part-time electrician had hired a hypnotist to take away Eubank's biggest asset, his psychological edge.
Yet was a good match, as if to say, a major miss with those all right.
The challenger dropped the Englishman in the 8th round. And although Eubank returned the favor in the 10th,
Championship. If this is 15th defense of the right hand, Scott Collins.
it was not enough to spare him from a first defeat. After tasting defeat for the first time, Chris Eubank quickly got back to work with the aim of reclaiming his WBO belt. He put away both Bruno Ruben Godoy
No, he stopped it.
and Jose Ignacio in a hurry,
Middleweight, fighting quite heavy, hitting super middleweight.
beating both men inside a round to pave the way for a rematch with Collins.
I think that could be his usual style of this. Body punch, good right hand.
Unlike their first meeting, both fighters managed to stay on their feet for the full 12 rounds.
A growing confidence.
yes, maybe so.
In the end, the judges were needed again to decide the winner, with Collins getting the verdict via a split decision. By this time, many fans of Eubank were asking him to retire, as he had a wonderful career and was a legend of the sport. He had one last shot at his WBO super middleweight title against Joe Calzaghe,
That fast knockout, Eubank. Oh, the left hook on the...
which he lost. And it also moved up in weight to challenge for the junior heavyweight title against Carl Thompson twice.
Not much coming back from Eubank for the moment. The referee taking a closer look. Thompson getting through with some clubbing right hands. And Eubank...
Being on the verge of ruining his legacy, Chris eventually hung up his gloves for good. Today, Eubank lives a quiet life and is known around Britain as the best-dressed man and a gentleman. Chris Eubank is the epitome of the phrase, "Don't judge a book by its cover," as this old tailored suited man could still hurt 90% of the population.